Hello, guys. The world outside is crazy, and we're all having a rough go. But you know who is really having a hard time? The billionaires. Yes, the 1% is severely struggling, and I think it is your job as a majority of the population to help out the minority. Look at Anafenza the foremost. She is a leader of the abzan and sits on a golden throne. She is the quarantine queen. Yet, because of this plague, she's lost 4% of her wealth in the stock market. And now, with the pangolin market grinding to a halt, we need to help her get some of her money back. But don't worry, Anafenza has a plan to rebuild her wealth. Looking at her, you might think an aggressive +1/+1 counter theme is the way to go, as she is a 4/4 for 3 that gives another tapped creature a +1/+1 counter whenever she attacks. But that would be too obvious. You don't make it to the tippity top of the populace by being predictable. No, with the way this deck is built, Anafenza can win without even leaving her throne in the command zone. Her plan consists of 3 parts. 1. Creating value and protecting herself from the virus. 2. Gaining value through the tireless efforts of essential workers. The essential workers have always truly been the backbone of society, and have always been treated with such respect. Finally, step 3 is eradicating the virus. Once the 1% regains their lost value and has prospered from the demand of necessary supplies, only then, when at ease and vaccinated, can their great 1% minds figure out a way to stop this plague. So let's begin with the obvious. We need to maintain social distancing to protect Anafenza, and to do so, we can't let our opponents and competitors into our share of the market. We need obstacles like Ghostly Prison, Norn Xanax, Sphere of Safety, and Baird, Steward of Argive, all of which protect Anafenza from attacking creatures by making our opponents pay some form of tax. Sandworm Convergence also stops flying creatures from attacking us, which is a very solid defense considering how great bats have been for this plague. Another way to keep creatures at the proper social distance is to tap them down. Authority of the Consuls, Blind Obedience, and Kinjali Sunwing all make our opponent's creatures enter tapped, while Citadel Siege and Glare Subdual can tap creatures before they can attack or block, just to maintain that 6 feet for Jesus.
Stay back!
Miri can also help us. As long as she is tapped, only 1 creature can attack us at a time. And to top it all off, Privileged Position is the gloves and face mask of this deck. It keeps all of our other permanents safe by giving them hexproof. But this isn't just about protecting the wealth Anafenza has. We also need to gain value during this pandemic. Into the Wilds gains us more resources by potentially getting a free land drop off the top of your deck each turn, and we can also untap our lands at the end of our turns with Wilderness Reclamation. And that is precisely what we need to do. While everyone is inside distracted by the Tiger King, the 1% needs to reclaim what they rightfully deserve from nature, like rhinoceros horns and the Amazon rainforest. Once we have these land resources, we can then use Mirari's Wake to double up our mana production. With this mana, we can gain more value off of cards like Greed and Underworld Connections, both of which allow us to draw cards. Greed is very unfortunately named, but Underworld Connections lets us pay 1 life to draw a card. And funny enough, this is exactly what some of you may need to do to restart the economy. Pay 1 life. But don't fret, because in death you will still benefit us with the help of Moldervine Reclamation, which lets us draw a card and gain 1 life whenever a creature we control dies. And of course, during these tough economic times, big corporations are going to need some help with government bailouts. Luckily, we have folks like Satyr Enchanter, Herald of the Pantheon, and Eidolon of Blossoms to help lighten our casting costs and reward us with card draw and life gain for playing enchantments. But at the same time, we need to teach the working class that they can't expect the world to just give them free handouts, and in order to get the essentials they need, they too need to pay a price. Smothering Tithe can gain us a treasure whenever an opponent draws a card, and Aura of Silence makes our opponent's enchantments and artifacts cost 2 more to cast. Underworld Coinsmith understands these corporation economics well. Whenever we play an enchantment, we gain a life, and then we can pay that life to drain each of our opponents for life, resulting in pure value. Now, if the people feel like this is unjust and they don't like it, we do have additional means to protect the 1% against public backlash. Darksteel Mutation can turn any creature into a 0/1, while Starfield and Nyx can help us resurrect our Value Town enchantments and turn them into creatures with power and toughness equal to their converted mana cost. Meanwhile, Doomwake Giant gives all of our opponent's creatures -1/-1 whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under our control. Many people will assume that Doomwake Giant is the embodiment of the current plague, but it is actually the embodiment of the dying economy continually suffering due to the liberal media telling people to stay home. Finally, dread is a necessary part of this plan. Everyone does a bit better with a sense of dread. Not only does dread destroy any creature that deals damage to us, but also the fear of our own mortality that dread brings can boost our immune system against the virus and allow us to send people back to work. As a great doctor suggested, we should begin by opening schools. It would only add 2 to 3% to the national mortality rate, and it would restart the miniature coffin industry.
Damn, I was 2 days from retirement.
But speaking of sending people back to work, let's focus on the current essential workers, who are still out there fighting the good fight. Luckily for us, plenty of our enchantments make us tokens, or as I call them, essential workers. Mobilization, Sacred Mesa, and Dawn of Hope all create tokens on command. Now, I've heard some people say that the 1% thinks that these workers are expendable, and I think that that is incorrect. Does this look expendable to you? Exactly. These workers are heroes, and they should be remembered as such when they die in the line of duty. That being said though, pairing these enchantments with Wilderness Reclamation means we can make more tokens during our opponent's turn to do whatever the fuck we want with. A neat little business design in this plan is between Darien, King of Keldor, a figurehead FYI, and Trostani, Selesnia's voice. Whenever we are dealt damage, Darien creates a 1/1 creature for each 1 damage we take, and whenever a creature enters the battlefield under our control, we gain life equal to its toughness thanks to Trostani. So at little to no cost to us or our life total, we get a bunch of labor in the form of a full battlefield. More token makers include the aptly named First Response that creates a soldier token on each turn if we were dealt damage on the previous turn, Heliod, God of the Sun, an excellent manager that can create 2/1 essential workers and keep them vigilant, and Archon of Sun's Grace, which makes a 2/2 Pegasus whenever we play an enchantment. Animal workers are an innovative idea during this pandemic as the virus has not spread to any animals that are horses. Whew. Moving on, Harmonious Archon is another great boss. It creates 2 1/1 humans and makes all non-Archon creatures 3/3s. This supportive action is much better for workers than employee medical coverage or excess hazard pay, but not quite as good as a commercial to thank all you workers out there.
The work you are doing means everything right now. Thank you.
Finally, we do have to acknowledge the harsh reality of this situation. With disease comes death. But luckily, this plan covers death, with a variety of enchantments that create spirit tokens, angel tokens, zombie tokens, or whatever creature HR wants me to acknowledge to satisfy your various religious beliefs. The point is that in order to have a strong economy, there needs to be sacrifices. So,
some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
I don't know about using that Shrek clip, it's just a bit overdone.
Okay, well then what are you going to replace it with?
I don't know, I mean the White Sun Zenith joke with the cats.
Right, because the cats can catch the virus?
Yeah, I don't know how to fit it in. We'll come back to it. The final part of Anafenza's big billionaire brain plan is to destroy the virus. Originally, we could just wait until May when it gets warmer, but that seems to be taking too long. Where's some of that global warming when you need it, eh? So we're bringing out the real destroy effects. Vindicate, Golgari Charm, and Putrefy can all destroy various permanents. while Vraska, Relic Seeker, can destroy an artifact, creature, or enchantment and make us some treasure along the way. She can also make 2/2 tokens and change a player's life total to 1. Now that is a cutthroat competition. And our Reckoning, well, that just depicts exactly what the virus did. It destroys all non-token work opportunities. But sometimes destroying is not good enough. We need to exile things to truly stop the spread of this virus. Banishing Light, Oblivion Ring, and Utter End can all exile another non-land permanent. While Abzan Charm can exile big creatures, Deathrite Shaman can exile cards from opponents' graveyards for various effects, and Ethereal Absolution can exile creatures from graveyards to make 1/1 spirits. Planar Void is a nicer exile all graveyards effect. Unlike Rest in Peace and Leyline of the Void, Planar Void still allows effects to trigger from cards hitting the graveyard before they get exiled. This gives us good PR towards our opponents by not shutting down graveyard decks completely. Also, we still have to consider the capital gains from industries that revolve around death, like grave digging and hearse driving. With all this exiling, Kaya Orzhov Usurper can really shine. She can exile cards as well, but once opponents have a sizable exile pile, her neg 5 can deal damage equal to the number of cards they have in exile and we gain that much life. And if stuff is going really poorly, Anafenza can come off her throne to deal with any situation. She too exiles any creature card that hits our opponent's graveyards. And she can protect herself with these golden boots. For mana, Anafenza runs the classic signets as well as an extensive amount of multicolor lands. We even run shock lands and fetch lands because these expensive lands are just pennies to a billionaire. Plus, we can also grab the forest shock lands with our Sky Shroud claim. You can run a cheaper, simpler mana base if you want, but remember that it does need to lean heavily into white and green. And there it is, Anafenza's plan to reopen the economy and end the pandemic. If you like this plan, or at least the video around this plan, be sure to like and sub. If you think this plan could be better, comment down below with the amendments that you'd like to see, and I'll pass them along to Anafenza's secretary. Anyways, until next time, stay safe and breathe less moistly.